Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, I am somewhat late in terms of the groups being announced, but nevertheless, there is some time before this actually begins. Regardless, I've decided to give you all my 2027 Asian Cup qualifier predictions. It does feel somewhat fitting as I am in Vietnam while I am recording this video. And them, along with many other countries, have to prove themselves in order to play in Asia's most important tournament. Now, for those of you that do not know, 18 teams have already qualified for the AFC Asian Cup. That's because in a previous World Cup qualifier round for the AFC, top two of each group were granted a spot to the next round of the qualification process, along with an automatic spot to the Asian Cup tournament. The ones who finish third and fourth have to go through a separate qualification process while also failing to qualify for the World Cup. And by the way, there were some countries that had to go through a previous playoff round prior to this stage and failed to make it. Those teams include Cambodia, who lost to Sri Lanka on penalties, Mongolia, who lost 4-3 to Timor-Leste, and Brunei, who destroyed Macau 4-0. But still, there are so many interesting groups here. If this video does well, I'll continue to do coverage on the Asian Cup qualifiers. So don't forget to leave another like and subscribe if you're new. And as always, let me know your predictions in the comments below. Let's start off with Group A. We've got Tajikistan, the Philippines, Timor-Leste, and Maldives. What an incredible group filled with life. Tajikistan only just made their AFC Asian Cup debut last year. They had an incredible run, advancing over the UAE in the round of 16. And the Philippines also made only one appearance in 2019, while Maldives and Timor-Leste have never made an appearance in the Asian Cup. Tajikistan, yes, failed to qualify for the World Cup, finishing third under Jordan and Saudi Arabia, but it was a difficult group and they still have been putting off some decent performances. In those World Cup qualifiers, they drew with Saudi Arabia and narrowly lost to them while traveling away. They thrashed Pakistan both times they faced them and recently destroyed Nepal 4-0. Now, unfortunately, they got rid of Albert Einstein as manager, but still have been doing quite well with the Georgian mastermind, Shekiladze. A good chunk of their players play for Istiklal Dushanbe, the most successful club in Tajikistan. But their most valuable player is their goalkeeper, Rostam Yatimov, who plays for FC Rostov in the Russian Premier League. The Philippines, on the other hand, have just appointed Spanish manager Albert Capelas in September, who has a record of 3 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses. Too many underwhelming draws, I'd say, but they did defeat Indonesia recently in the AFF Championship, and even defeated Thailand in the first leg of the semi-finals. Thailand eventually caught up, but it was still an impressive run in the group stage, as they also drew with the eventual champions, Vietnam. Overall, this nation are really looking to improve in the football world. They have had some really tough years at attempting to progress as a nation, but their qualification in the 2019 Asian Cup really saw a spirit of hope. This side have actually recently recruited a lot of foreigners, and I definitely think they will be able to compete in this group to potentially get that first place spot. Also, I definitely should have mentioned this earlier, but first place in each group will be the ones to actually play in the AFC Asian Cup. A team, though, that I don't really see doing well is Timor-Leste. Many of their recent performances suggest that one way or another, they will crumble in this group. In the AFF Championship, they lost to Thailand 10-0, put off a decent fight against Malaysia, but still lost, then lost to Singapore 3-0, and Cambodia, who did not even qualify for this Asian Cup qualification group stage, 2-1. Maldives are also not a convincing side to bank on. In recent times, they have had their fair share of losses. They randomly unify well. Their only recent result this year came against Bangladesh, where they actually did go toe-to-toe with them. I think that they'll finish third and Timor-Leste fourth, but for first and second, I'm genuinely torn. It really could go either way here. Philippines did recently have somewhat of a promising tournament, but at the same time, Tajikistan have really got some convincing results lately. A flip of a coin in my opinion, but right now, I think the Philippines have what it takes to once again qualify for the Asian Cup, so they'll finish first, Tajikistan second. Let's move on to Group B now, with Lebanon, Yemen, Brunei, and Bhutan. Again, just like the last group, 2 teams that have qualified for the tournament before, and 2 that never have. Lebanon have played in a total of 3, but every single time have failed to progress from the group stage. In the last tournament, they failed to register a win, losing to Qatar and Tajikistan, but drawing with China. Under their Montenegro manager Radulovic, they have not had the greatest record, at least at the start. He was at the helm during the Asian Cup failure, and even took a beating to Australia in World Cup qualifying twice in a row. Since then, the performances have slightly improved, registering his first win against Bangladesh, which finished 4-0. But overall, I think Lebanon will be disappointed with their recent performances. Yemen did a bit better than Lebanon in that World Cup qualifier round, grabbing at least 1 win. In the Gulf Cup, they kept everything close against tough opposition, even beating Bahrain there. Their manager, Aoud Ali, I would say is in a similar run of form comparing to Radulovic. They've had some minor impressive performances in that World Cup qualifier second round, arguably a bit better than Lebanon. But I hate to say it, I think these are the 2 weaker sides in pots 1 and 2, fighting for a spot in the Asian Cup. While unfortunately both Brunei and Bhutan are not to be trusted in this campaign. In 2023, Brunei conceded a total of 22 goals in 3 matches, and in 2024 they looked to improve. But their latest match was 11-0 to Russia in a friendly. Granted, that was not their strongest side thrown there, but still. And Bhutan also only really being able to show off going for head-to-head with Bangladesh. Neither of these sides were in the second round of the World Cup qualifiers, so I really don't see them standing a chance here. I'll put Brunei 4th and Bhutan 3rd. Second and first once again is a toss-up, but I am leaning towards Lebanon to do it. I'll put them in front of Yemen to qualify for the AFC Asian Cup. Now Group C has potential for some twists and has to be one of the best looking group in this Asian Cup qualifier round. There's India, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Bangladesh. All these nations have participated in an AFC Asian Cup, with India and Hong Kong playing in the last tournament. Both were knocked out of the group stage though. India is definitely going through a bit of a transition since the last tournament. No more legend Sunil Chhetri, no more Croatian manager Igor Stimac at the helm. Now they got Manolo Marquez from Spain in charge, which I think some are happy about, but I think this side are lacking a bit offensively. Since they have been knocked out of the second round of the World Cup qualifiers, they have not won a match and scored 2 goals in 4 games against Vietnam and Malaysia. They could genuinely struggle in a group like this, but Hong Kong have also slightly weakened since the last Asian Cup. It's weird, towards the end of the year they lost to Liechtenstein, the only team to lose to San Marino, but then went on to score 3 against Cambodia and the Philippines. That's because they've got some attackers that love to turn up just at an inconsistent basis. Everton Camargo being the staple example. Singapore should also not be ruled out. This side randomly gets slapped around by opposition, as we've seen in the World Cup qualifiers to Korea, and also got hammered by Vietnam in both legs recently in the AFF Championship. But Singapore do have more of an attacking threat to their disposal that is clicking, where the defense is still exposed way too often. But another team that's guilty of having a horrific defensive display often is Bangladesh. They were an absolute mess against Australia, even conceded 4 to a Lebanon that was not informed. Dodgy lost to Bhutan and Maldives. All love to Bangladesh, but 4th place seems like a safe pick. The rest though, I truly think is a toss-up. I could see India getting way too many draws in this that could potentially halt their chances to get first place in this group and qualify, but at the same time, they do look like the favorites to actually play in the tournament. It's a really tough one, but I'm still going for India getting first place, Hong Kong 2nd, and Singapore 3rd. I would not be surprised whatsoever though if this is not the final order. Moving on to Group D now, with what should be one of the favorites in that pot 1 slot. We've got Thailand, Turkmenistan, Chinese Taipei, and Sri Lanka. I say should be, but you never know. Turkmenistan could be a challenge to play when traveling to their home ground. They can make it a more cagey affair, as sometimes they do show a solid defensive display. And Thailand are very unfortunate to be in this position in the first place, to be in this Asian Cup qualifier round. It was really down to the wire with them and China to advance to the 3rd round of World Cup qualification, sharing points and stats across the board. So maybe more unfortunate events can occur for them, but I still think it's safe to put them at first place in this group. They just took the L to Vietnam in the cup final, but they still made it all the way to the final. Sometimes in the tournament they did not look defensively composed, especially in the later stages, but still had those type of dominant displays like against Timor-Leste. They definitely just have the edge to handle a group like this. When it comes to Chinese Taipei, definitely watch out for their forward Ange Samuel. He's got some solid numbers for his clubs throughout the season and can very much be a threat going forward if he does turn up. Chinese Taipei lately have been scoring the goals, but their defense just does not turn up. I do think they'll lose a lot of their away matches, which could set them back. And unfortunately, Sri Lanka I think are cooked in this group. They did not register a single win in all of 2024 while not having the strongest opposition. I know they defeated Cambodia on a shootout, but still, that does count as a draw on record. They are the 2nd worst ranked team in the AFC Confederation, only in front of Guam. I think it's easy 4th place for them. Chinese Taipei 3rd, Turkmenistan 2nd, and Thailand get that first place spot to make it to the Asian Cup. Moving on to Group E with Syria, Afghanistan, Myanmar, and Pakistan. Pakistan are probably the most underwhelming national team. One of the highest populations in the world, and they have never qualified for the Asian Cup. It's just madness. They've only just registered their first ever World Cup qualifier win in history as well. They're definitely finishing last, I think. This side, year after year, is just disappointing. I feel like at most they can pick up a draw against Myanmar, maybe 1 win, but still, Myanmar's at least gonna beat them once. Myanmar for some national teams are a cakewalk of an opponent, like recently to Vietnam. Even North Korea obliterated them twice in the World Cup qualifiers. But they are capable of exposing defenses from time to time, scoring quite a few goals even in matches where they are not victorious. So I definitely think they can handle Pakistan head to head. I'm putting them at 3rd. At the same time though, who knows? Afghanistan's last win was back in March against India. That's their only win in 8 matches. But they also randomly don't play their strongest lineup, so it is fully hard to judge this side what they will bring out in this qualification process. If they do bring their top talent talents, they could give Syria some problems. But to me, Syria just has the most backbone and quality to prove that they can handle this group. We've already seen them absolutely annihilate Myanmar in the World Cup qualifier 7-0. In the Asian Cup last year, they made it to the round of 16, knocked out by a penalty shootout to Iran. They've been getting the best out of India recently every time, but they did crumble to North Korea in an unfortunate manner in the last World Cup qualifier round. Omar Kribin, he has not been in the squad for some time. Take him in, and Syria will handle this group no problem, I reckon. They will qualify and get that first place spot, Afghanistan second. And finally, Group F, definitely a group where we could see an unpredictable outcome. There's Vietnam, Malaysia, Nepal, and Laos. Lots of rivalries here. All these teams were just in the AFF Championship, where Vietnam did go on to win the whole thing. I'm in Hanoi and I landed right after they won, so I missed all the celebrations. Rafael said that tournament was unbelievable. Unfortunately got injured right before the final, but he was scoring every single match prior, most of the time getting 2 goals. Speedy recovery to him, but I think Vietnam prior to the tournament started to gel and click very well at the perfect time. In the Asian Cup last year, they did not look too hot. Now they'll be going into this qualification process with a lot of confidence after securing that trophy. I think it's safe to say that they are the favorites of this group. Malaysia are a very exciting team. Love to watch them play, but they concede too much to sides that they should be able to handle better. Drawing to Cambodia 2-2, beating Timor-Leste but conceding 2 to them as well. Harimau Malaya need to step it up and raise their standards. I don't see them having the cleanest campaign here. Maybe they can have some kind of thriller matchup against Vietnam, but still at the end falling short. Nepal is definitely going to be a mixed bag. I could see them losing every single match or sneaking their way through a few times. Unfortunately, they've been battered too many times recently, scoring no goals and conceding loads, while Laos were able to put out better fights. I think the final order will be Vietnam first, Malaysia second, Laos third, and unfortunately Nepal fourth. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are my qualified predictions for the matches that will begin in 2 months' time. Any additional info about these teams, along with your predictions, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. La Noche.